There are 3 people in the world who are passionate about extremely idiotic things. 2 are no longer among the living, and the 3rd is the cameraman because he never dies. Just joking, it's our protagonist Wakana Gojo, a lonely, stupid loser whose passion is crafting Hina dolls. His life turns upside down when a girl manages to find out his ugly secret, and this spirals into a collaboration between them that I must say will not end well. This anime begins as Gojo woke up from a dream of a possible past memory of him being introduced to the family business at a very young age. He adored the beauty doll lady he was shown and immediately fell in love with the family business. I mean, it runs in the blood. In that same dream, he was yelled at by a girl for liking dolls more than girls do. And from there, he woke up. Guys, something smells a little suspicious here about this quote-unquote boy.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He immediately got up and started preparing for school. His Oji-san, who's been in this business for 48 years, encourages him that though he's having issues painting the dolls' faces, he has an impeccable artisan of the needle and thread, demonstrating exceptional skill and artistry in his dressmaking. His Oji-san worries about his social life because right from childhood, his only friends were the dolls he made or the dolls he adored. God, anytime I think about dolls, the images of Chucky and Annabelle pop into my head. It's a little weird. Maybe this kid is possessed. He lied through his teeth that he's always had friends and he's doing well, kind of like what I say to my parents when they tell me to touch grass. He got to school and boy oh boy was he not just lonely, he was almost non-existent, just like a typical Discord mod. Right there where almost all the other protagonists sit in class, at the back and by the window. While he was wishing he could just disappear because of his inability to relate with his peers, a lady came flying. She was falling anyway, but I'm wondering how she could have tripped so well to be falling from such a height in the middle of a classroom. And on top of that, she was falling towards Gojo's direction. I thought he was gonna put on his cape and save the day with some heroic Superman Riz, but he watched her as she flew right into the edge of his locker and bumped his head. Her name was Kitagawa. She tries to check on him if he's okay. He behaves all shy until the girls around finally leave. After school hours, a few students were to clean the school environs as punishment. The guys left it all to Gojo, who just says yes to them asking. A few seconds later, Kitagawa walked in and joined in arranging the class too. Somehow and reluctantly, the conversation led to Gojo telling her that the others just yanked the responsibility of cleaning the whole place to him and left. She yells at him and tells him that he'll have to speak for himself. Later that night, he got injured and the sewing machine at home also got bad. The next day, he took his artisan doll dresses with him to make using the sewing machine in school. He really loved the school's model because the one he's been using at home is quite bad and is almost an ancient relic. Kitagawa came into the handcrafts room and saw him. We're all shocked to see her, just as much as she's shocked to see him. His doll slipped from his hand and he dove in like the goalie Peter Sek and saved it. He was mortified that she saw his little fancy girl doll. She, on the other hand, was just amazed that she saw him at the sewing machine. For a moment there, he was almost caught talking to his possessed-looking doll Annabelle. She asked if he was good at sewing dresses, and he explained his background history. She took off her dress and replaced it with one she sewed for herself. She showed Gojo a picture of the dress and asked what he thought about it. Without knowing, Gojo flushed away every good thing she thought she'd done on the dress by highlighting all the mistakes she made. He apologized for hurting her feelings. She asked him to help her sew some dresses because she wants to be a famous model one day like Kuroe Shizuku. Gojo didn't really ask, but Kitagawa said that Shizuku is from a famous game from the year before, which she explained to be weird and was excited about it. For a second, Gojo thought she was just joking with him all the while, but looking up at her, all the doubt in him cleared as he saw the seriousness in her face. He asked if these games weren't age-restricted. She quickly drowned the conversation and cheered on, being excited that he'd help her out. She pulled out a magazine that could help this newly formed acquaintance. Gojo was mind-blown by how informative and explanatory the magazine was on dressmaking. His mind was further blown when they both realized that Kitagawa had such a book and still put together a simple dress.
Emotional, damn it!
She was ready to head to the market to get materials, but Gojo said it should wait till Monday. She obviously couldn't wait. On Saturday morning, she showed up at his doorstep, distracted him with cheesecake, and flash stepped into the house. She went straight into his room and saw a few pencils. She could have squatted, but no!
No! God, please, no! No!
Innocent Gojo standing behind her was losing his mind over the fact that it was his first time having a girl over. He calmed his thoughts and saw her standing right in his face. He pulled back, and in 10,000 ways that she could have told him to get started on making the dress, she said, "Let's get to it." But she only meant taking her measurements. He doesn't want to take measurements because she'll have to be half exposed, but she doesn't care. She just undresses in under 2 seconds, saying she's got on a swimsuit. From now till the end of time, Aaron, Tengen, possibly you and I still can't tell the difference between a swimsuit and underwear. It's still just a pair of underwear.
What?
He started measuring and was slowly losing his mind to lust. He's just a man, and so am I. He gets himself together and measures her. She asked for her feet to be measured. He gets up to get a chair, but she sat on his bedspread. He almost ran mad like when Aaron found out who the armored titan was. One way or another, through the temptation, he got her feet measured. He thought it was over. She asked him to measure bust width. That's nip to nip if you don't know.
We don't do that here.
He argued he couldn't. She jokingly said they're out for him to measure, and Bro's soul was temporarily extracted from his body. She measured up and told him. She left behind some tapes of the Moi Girl 1 and 2. As he took them from her, he caught flashes of her melons and her bottom from the shirt she was wearing. Nothing gets a man better than thirst traps. He's been avoiding it, but the inevitable happened. Little Johnny got up.
Nice.
Later that night, Oji-san came back home with a new sewing machine and saw Gojo watching something that looked like a scene from 50 Shades of Grey the movie. Oji-san was worried, but was slightly glad that he's finally taking an interest in women, but still R-rated movies. I'm gonna say this in man terms. Bros, he woke up from the dream and did the business before heading to class, and now he wonders how he's gonna face her after what he did. Walking the school hallways and everyone was admiring Kitagawa as she moved along the halls too. Bro was still trying to keep a low profile, but immediately she saw him. She called out to him in excitement. Now, a friend of Kitagawa's joined the conversation and a few others too. Goju, who had never had girls talking to him so much, all of a sudden had 4 right in front of him. Her friends wonder what's going on between them, and she grabbed him by the shoulder and shoved him into her melons.
Yeah, boy.
With that display, it's only a matter of time before the boys come around to know what's up. Goju heard people whisper things and began to avoid Kitagawa. She finally got a hold of him, and he explained that people have begun to whisper she doesn't care about it and is totally cool with him. She dragged him shopping, from clothes to wigs, from there to pop socks, and finally at late evening they went to go get food. As they were about to leave, they started discussing about Moi Girl. Goju said the word out loud, and you need to see the mortified look on everyone's face as they walked by. Kitagawa fills Goju in on how the cosplay events pan out, taking pictures, and some also get to post those pictures online. Kitagawa kept on going about the cosplayers, and now she's asking why Goju is not saying anything. He explains that he doesn't adore anything as much as he adores the Hina doll he saw at his grandpa's shop. He was smitten. It touched the depths of his soul. He wouldn't call anything beautiful unless it's from the depth of his heart. She understood and said it's good to have things important to oneself. She enjoyed herself today, and she really loved the fact that Goju went all out to watch and personally sketch out the dress of Shizuku. While others just passed a comment about it, he actually sat through the whole thing and watched it. And that reminds me of the time that Kitagawa first saw the Hina doll and called it beautiful. It was the first time that someone other than his grandpa openly appreciated the beauty of the Hina doll. She offered him the snack she got a while ago, and he refused. She fussed about him, thinking she's a glutton. He asked when this cosplay fest will be, and she picked up her phone and said in exactly 2 weeks. She dashed off because if she didn't, she'd miss the train. He stood there in shock, for how could he comprehend and bring to existence a dress that's needed in such short term? After the shocking news of having just 2 weeks to put that cosplay together, he was losing his mind in the train ride back home, wondering about how long it'll take to just cut the dress, talk more of putting it together bit by bit. He got home and Oji-san welcomed him at the gate. Just as Oji-san was happy about Goju going out with a friend, the shopping bags tripped over, and the leggings, of all things that could have fallen out of the bag, it had to be the leggings.
Oh my god!
Oji-san was hospitalized after he had a great fall. Miori, one of Oji-san's grandchildren, showed up at the hospital. Miori said her dad offered for Oji-san to stay over at their place if he agrees. Goju tagged along and missed a day of school. The following day, he filled Kitagawa's cup on What's Up. After exchanging numbers, they walked down the hallways. They realized that it's midterm assessment next week and exams after. This is a conundrum of time planning, for Goju is stuck between studying, seeing Oji-san, attending to customers, giving tours, and making the dress which he was already lacking behind on time. A little by little, restless nights and busy days until at last exam was out of the way, but he's far back in time. Kitagawa came visiting, but she thought no one was home because the lights were off, but Goju was inside having a mental breakdown. He remembered what his grandpa told him while he was younger, and his motivation built up. He got up and started putting the dress together little by little. He got the dress done and texted Kitagawa that it was ready. His mind was blown away. She wasn't going to participate in this cosplay event. The information was just misunderstood. In light of the situation and the stress Goju has been through, she burst into tears and apologized for putting him under so much pressure without even knowing it. They decided to try out the dress since she's already here. They watched video tutorials on makeup and hairdo, so many things to be done like lash extensions. Hina dolls now use lash extensions, so Goju had a few in store already. He fixed her up and let her get dressed. Take a look at her looking like a kami in a pretty maid dress. He opened the door and the beauty before his eyes melted his mind. Kitagawa was so happy that she looks like Shizuku. The dress was a nice fit. Goju did a great job taking her pictures after the first few trials where she looked like herself, and he corrected her to look cool and lustful like Shizuku does. She posted the pictures and decided to go to the cosplay event the next day. The last time I saw an anime character so enthusiastic about cosplay was in Steins Gate, Mayuri. What a wonder girl she was. At the cosplay event, everyone was either a cosplayer or a cosplay lover who's there to collect pictures of the cosplayers. Goju felt so out of place at first, but he later caught on. It wasn't long before people started lining up to take pictures of Kitagawa. Goju stood a distance away and watched them take pictures of her. In his alone and gazing at Kitagawa time, he appreciates that she's having fun just like everyone else too, and that's when it dawned on him. Since he has kept his promise of sewing her a dress, life is going to go back to normal where no one gave him a single shred of attention. In his flashback of the memories he's had with her, there were a lot of melons shaking and juggling in it. In this moment of appreciation, he looked up to her and saw her in the totality of her beauty. The clarity of the situation he's in hit him. He's in love with this angel. In shock, even he could not believe as she ran, jiggle jiggle, bounce bounce towards him. The stress was choking her, a billion ways to convey the message, and she said she was gonna. The look on Goju's face was to die for. They went in and looked for a place to cool her off before she dies in the dress. Measures were taken to calm her down, clothes were loosened, melons were ogled at, zips were unzipped, and backs were scrubbed. They decided to call it a day, but Kitagawa still had to go and pose for a fan who she told to wait. They hurried back to the plaza and the pictures were taken. They got on a train, and along the ride, Goju thanked her for a wonderful experience of spending time with an actual human being and sewing in actual human-sized clothes. It's been a great experience for me who's been ogling too, so I'm sending my thanks to Kitagawa. She said there'd be more cosplay costumes to sew, but what the next one will be is what she doesn't know yet. Goju was happy and he let the happiness slip past his lips, turning them into a smile. Goju was dozing off in the train after all he's been through. He needs 3 days of non-stop bed rest and proper care. Proper care. She was talking him to his sleep, but as he looked at her one last time before he gave in to the sleep, he told her that she looked beautiful today. The word beautiful flashes her memory of when he told her that the word had a special meaning to it and he'd not give it to any person or thing unless it's from the bottom of his heart. At Goju's place, Kitagawa and Goju were dry cleaning the costume when Oji-san came back and almost had another heart attack as he saw Goju holding a lady's dress.
My time has come.
And then saw Kitagawa standing next to him. They explained things to him and showed him the dress. Kitagawa stood behind as Oji-san and Goju put their minds together on how the dress could be better. She finally realized that she's in love with Goju. I mean, it was a matter of time. Her tummy growled and they all had dinner. Kitagawa was super flushed with emotions on the train as she went back. She thinks back on Goju saying nothing indecent happened between the two of them. Then she thought, what if something happened? The next day, a lady came running towards the Goju residence under heavy rain. She was drenched, so Oji-san let her come in and shower. Goju came in not long after and Oji-san left. Goju went in wondering who the visitor was because his only friend Kitagawa was supposed to be out working. He went in and opened the shower door and saw the lady completely exposed. In a bid to cover herself, she slipped. And oh my, Goju saw everything there is to see. Inui Sajuna was her name. She asked if he was the one that makes the dresses. He misunderstood and thought it was the Hina doll dresses. For a moment, she just went with the flow and adored the Hina dresses. She called back his attention and said she's here for the cosplay costumes and would like to order one. He tried to deny making her one, but she quickly reminded him of the bathroom incident and how that mistake peeping could land him right in jail. She explained that she saw Kitagawa is too long, let's call her Kita. She explained that she saw Kita's cosplay online, the one she posted before the cosplay event. So she came and spied on them all day during the cosplay event and eventually tailed Goju home. She revealed that she's Juju, a famous cosplayer that Kita loves and looks up to. Kita came over to Goju's place immediately after she was done. She was so excited to meet Juju. Juju explained that she wants a dress from a children's anime, and that's when Goju mentioned that he doesn't watch anime. How do you live there and not watch that? They gave him a brief rundown of what the anime is all about. All I saw was a baby version of a character from Wonderful Precure and a toned down as death from Akame ga Kill. She once cosplayed for the good part of a character. Now she wants to cosplay for the bad side of the same character. Juju misread the situation and called them a couple. This freaked out Goju but made Kita very happy. It was time for Juju to leave. Goju got up to get her clothes. Kita tried to ask Juju to cosplay a pair, but she rejected it before Kita could finish asking the question. Goju walked in on Kita trying to convince Juju to do a cosplay pair with her. She was disagreeing non-stop. Juju mentioned that she's renting a studio for the cosplay costume that Goju is doing for her. Kita opted to join the payment of the studio so she could make use of it too, and before Juju could think it through, Goju added that he'd also pay alongside Kita. Reluctantly, Juju agrees to let them share the studio with her. Goju mentioned that he's going to watch through the whole anime so he could get a grasp of it. Juju mentioned that a few clips would be okay, but he said it'll give him a better understanding, and he's also done that before for Moe Girls 1 and 2. He got into R-rated details and Juju quickly shot it down. Later, when everyone had left, he showed Oji-san the new doll he'd done and was applauded for getting better. He told Oji-san that he'd head to Kita's place the next day to pick up 126 episodes of Flower Princess, the anime from which Juju wants a cosplay. The next morning, he got to Kita's place and she ran to open the door in her 90s. Goju almost lost control for a second there. She, on the other hand, was more worried that she wasn't wearing makeup. She slammed the door, leaving him outside, put herself together, and came back to invite him in. He was still trying to keep it cool. He decided he'd take what he needed and head out immediately, but she told him to watch a few with her before he left with the rest. She showed him her room. The room was a temple of worship for Shizuku. Walls, dolls, pillows, bedspread, everywhere you look, there's a picture or something about Shizuku. While they were watching Make-Believe as Death and Wonderful Precure, Kita realized that this actually is an in-house date. Going crazy beside him, her tummy humbled her with a loud growl. She decided to make breakfast. She thought the food was bad, but Goju, who's never tasted modern spice, thought it was one of a kind. Goju got home and sent a detailed, drawn-out dress plan to Juju, who was amazed that the Shizuku dress was the first dress he made and it came out perfect. She informed him that her sister, too, is into cosplay and she's the one who takes her pictures with a camera. Goju asked that Juju's sister should tutor him on how to use a camera. He informed Kita and she'd also like to learn how to use a camera. They finally met up with the younger sister of Juju, whose name was Inui Shinju. She's taller, and shy to the core of her being. Juju's younger sister Shinju reveals that she's the mastermind behind Juju's social media success, running her account and basking in the compliments about her sister. She's like the Alfred to Juju's Batman, ensuring her sister's fame stays intact. Unlike the typical anime trope of sibling rivalry, these two are more like the Elric brothers from Full Metal Alchemist, where love and support are the alchemy of their relationship. Shinju, armed with a DSLR camera, is excited to show off its features to Kita, who becomes giddy with excitement. Imagine Kita as Tony Stark getting his hands on a new tech toy. The enthusiasm is wild. However, unlike Stark, who would jump right into action, Shinju prefers to stay behind the scenes, capturing her sister's best moments rather than being in the spotlight herself. The gang then decides to visit a studio set up in an abandoned hospital. This sounds straight out of a horror movie, or perhaps an episode of Scooby-Doo. While Shinju and Kita boldly venture in, Juju hesitates, her inner Shaggy and Scooby getting the best of her. Inside, Shinju and Kita dive deeper into their camera discussions, treating the DSLR like a magical artifact straight out of Harry Potter. Meanwhile, Goju notices Juju's reluctance and learns about her dream to cosplay Black Lily. Juju's determination to get the perfect photos for her cosplay is like Frodo's mission to destroy the One Ring, daunting but fueled by a burning passion. When Juju asks Goju about his future ambitions, he shares his dream of becoming a Hina doll artist. Their conversation is heartfelt, like the one of characters in Naruto sharing their ninja way. Juju recounts her first cosplay experience to Goju. Despite its flaws, it brought her immense joy. She then asks Goju why he became her cosplay dress tailor. Goju's answer reflects a deep appreciation for the craft, similar to a Jedi's respect for the Force. Her choice, inspired by Kita's dress, moves Goju to tears, remembering his grandfather's words about creating beloved Hina dolls. The emotional roller coaster continues as Goju expresses his gratitude holding Juju's hand. Kita and Goju finish their exams and head to the beach. Kita's burger being stolen by a hawk is classic slapstick comedy.
Emotional, damn it!
Akin to something you'd see in One Piece with Luffy and his never-ending appetite. At the beach, Kita drags Goju into the sea. It's his first beach outing, and he's torn between the unfamiliar environment and his dedication to Hina dolls. This scenario feels like Goku from Dragon Ball experiencing something new and exciting for the first time. Kita promises to take Goju to many places during their vacation, evoking a sense of adventure. As the day wraps up, Kita, feeling shy and content, takes a photo of Goju, marveling at his awesomeness in the depth of his weirdness. It's a sweet slice of life moment that wouldn't be out of place in Kimi ni Todoke or Your Lie in April. These quiet, heartfelt scenes are the essence of their bond, underscoring the beauty of their friendship and shared dreams. Watch out there. I almost turned it into poetry. Kita and Goju are in the throes of discussing their next cosplay, an endeavor one can liken to planning a heist in Ocean's 11. If you've watched it, you'd know it's meticulous and full of excitement. You should check it out if you haven't. Kita, in her ever-bold fashion, lifts her skirt to reveal her swimsuit to Goju, who reacts like he always does when he's confronted with anything remotely intimate. Utter embarrassment, typical of all men across the earth.
Nice.
Funny how we were all like that at some point, except for a few cheats born into this world with lust. Kita teases him, pointing out that he never replied when she sent the same pic earlier. After much internal struggle, Goju finally manages to stammer out that the swimsuit looks perfect, his face redder than a tomato in the heart of an Indian market. With the awkward moment behind them, Kita moves on to painting a tiny crystal for her cosplay outfit. It's a delicate task, and she expresses how good it feels to contribute, like Winry from Full Metal Alchemist taking pride in her auto-mail creations. Goju, touched by her sincerity, is overjoyed to see her smile. The big reveal comes when Juju and Kita try on the dresses Goju tailored. They are stunned by the craftsmanship, almost like Cinderella seeing her fairy godmother's dress for the first time. Goju then steps into the role of a makeup artist, with Juju lending a hand. Kita's transformation leaves her in disbelief, much like how Eliza Doolittle felt in My Fair Lady. Am I referencing too much? I love movies and cartoons that much. I love anime even more. Just as they're ready to start their cosplay photo shoot, rain starts pouring down, dampening everyone's spirits. It's a classic moment of dramatic irony, like the weather conspiring against our heroes at the worst possible time, echoing scenes from countless anime where plans go awry due to sudden rain. Anime aside, rain just ruined my wonderful blind date today. Meanwhile, as Kita and Juju are engrossed in their chatter, Goju and Shinju enter, surprising everyone with Shinju's new look. She's dressed as Soma from Flower Princess Blaze, a character she's long admired. In a flashback, we see Shinju finally embracing her desire to cosplay. A heartwarming moment. All of Naruto is a heartwarming moment. So many references I can make, but let's keep it down. Goju offers his school uniform shirt for Soma's costume, but it doesn't fit Shinju's curvier figure. Kita, Goju, and Shinju, all dressed to the nines in their cosplay outfits, jump into a vibrant photo shoot session with everyone immersed in their roles, posing and having a blast. Juju, filled with gratitude, thanks Goju for everything he has done for Shinju, even offering to repay him for the expenses. She admits she feels like she failed as an elder sister because she didn't know Shinju wanted to cosplay her favorite character. Goju, with the wisdom of a seasoned anime protagonist, reassures her that sometimes it takes immense courage to admit what you love. Juju is left in awe of Goju's profound understanding. Later at home, Shinju and Juju review the cosplay photos. Juju confides in Shinju that she feels jealous of her ability to pull off such an impressive cosplay. She wistfully notes that Shinju's body type would allow her to explore a variety of cosplay options. Drawing strength from Goju's earlier encouragement, Shinju declares her intention to pursue more cosplay costumes. Meanwhile, Goju and Kita are having a post-event chat on the phone, recapping their day. Kita, ever the curious one, remarks that she had no idea Goju and Shinju were secretly working on her cosplay. Goju explains that Shinju wanted to surprise her. The conversation shifts to their next cosplay project. Veronica, a character with a revealing outfit, sharp teeth, and tanned skin. Vampire. Kita soon arrives at Goju's house, flaunting her new tan for the Veronica cosplay, though it turns out to be just foundation. Goju blushes furiously, imagining Kita using his shower and borrowing his clothes, his thoughts spiraling like a shoujo manga protagonist caught in a romantic daydream. They dive into discussing the details of the Veronica cosplay. Kita, ever the prepared cosplayer, brings everything needed: foundation, mascara, and even wallpaper for the perfect prison backdrop. Goju, ever the perfectionist, has prepared custom canine teeth for her, which fit perfectly. Kita drags Goju out for a shopping spree, making him try on numerous outfits. It's like a montage from a rom-com, with Goju becoming Kita's dress-up doll. Each outfit makes Kita's heart flutter more, seeing him in new lights. When Kita asks when they can do the Veronica cosplay, Goju, blushing like Zoro from One Piece whenever he sees booze, insists that she has to handle this one on her own. Veronica's outfit is too revealing for him to manage without dying of embarrassment. Kita, ever the tease, offers to send him photos of her trying out the Veronica outfit, leaving Goju flustered beyond measure. God, who will, I can't be flustered anyway, fluster me. In the midst of a scorching summer day, Goju and Kitagawa decide to escape the heat by retreating to a manga cafe. However, the close proximity to Kita makes Goju feel like every other anime guy who's been locked in the house all his life. Ever watched Rental Girlfriend? It's nice, just like this one. Kita, ever the anime enthusiast, introduces Goju to a manga called Susai DK and expresses her desire to cosplay Liz Kyun, a character she finds irresistibly cute. Kita worries she might not be able to pull off such a cute character, but Goju, channeling his inner shounen protagonist, reassures her that she'll look amazing. He pulls up from time to time, and I like that. As Goju reads the manga, he realizes that creating Liz Kyun's outfit will be more challenging than usual. This time, he has to rely solely on the manga's illustrations. Later that night, the two of them chat and agree to meet at a studio for a photo shoot. The studio turns out to be a love hotel, which throws Goju into a tizzy. His life has moved from one roller coaster to the other ever since she flew into his life in episode 1. An iconic moment of a girl tripping right into a table. His nerves are more frazzled than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Kita tries on her new cosplay outfit and is thrilled with how it looks. Goju frets that the dress might not be entirely accurate to the character. Kita reassures him that adaptations between manga and real life often vary, and that he's done a fantastic job. Once Kita is ready, Goju gets absorbed in photographing her, losing himself in the pursuit of the perfect shot. In his quest for the ideal angle, Goju instructs Kita to sit on top of him. It's an innocent request, but the situation quickly turns awkward when they hear moaning sounds from a nearby room. Goju's embarrassment skyrockets, and in his trying not to be lost in lust state, he accidentally grabs Kita's waist, pulling her closer. Her phone slips and hits the light switch, plunging the room into darkness, a perfect moment for the two of them to share an unplanned kiss. But just as the tension peaks, the room phone rings, shattering the atmosphere like something always does. It's time to leave, and both are left embarrassed as they exit the Love Hotel. Goju, still reeling from the near kiss and the entire Love Hotel experience, can't stop thinking about Kita once he gets home. His mind races with thoughts, a mix of admiration for her cosplay dedication and a newfound awareness of his feelings for her. The next day, we see Goju finishing the doll just in time to see the fireworks. He becomes super surprised to receive a text from Kita. He rushes over and she laments about how her father canceled on going to the festival with her because she had not finished her homework. That sounds exactly like my mother. She goes ahead to complain that the reason she hasn't been doing so much homework is because of her part-time job. This makes Goju ask her what job she does, and she shows him a magazine. Immediately, our boy sees Kita as a model in the magazine. His head almost explodes, he just cannot believe it. She tells him she is still an amateur, but God help me, what sort of stunning amateur is this? I'm just happy no one can hear my thoughts because my aura would reduce if you guys found out I was crushing on an anime character. Anyways, Kita suggests they watch a horror movie, and he is hesitant but finally agrees. He ends up enjoying the movie, but Kita on the other hand is scared like a little cat. She shrieks even more when he tells her he wants to rewind some scenes to view and understand the makeup. Their mini movie date is over and they continue her assignments, after which she takes proof of it to show her dad. That's when she realizes her math assignment is missing, and she and Goju head to school to look for it. They walk around for a bit, and Kita mentions that after watching the horror movie, the school feels haunted. He uses the opportunity to invite her over for dinner, and that's when our girl sights this cool-looking pool and rushes to it. This girl is quite an airhead because despite Goju's warning, she somehow manages to fall inside the pool. This human being can't float, talk less of swim. If he didn't save her, it would have been bye-bye Kita. They finish and both head home, and later that evening, he receives a text from Kita saying she is working on the math assignment, and this makes our boy smile. Oh, do I smell unnecessary love in the air? After some time, he heads out to meet her at the festival, and he is shocked at the number of people that showed up. What's worse is that he is worried he won't be able to meet up with her, and just as he is thinking, she shows up in the most beautiful yukata I have ever seen. I am mesmerized, and frankly, our boy is too. She notices this and doesn't waste any time in taunting our boy. Just look at his eyes and how he looks at her, and tell me if this isn't love. They have more fun at the festival until it is time for the fireworks. Kita sees how surprised he looks and asks him if it's the first time he has ever come to the square to view fireworks, and it turns out to be true. Just then the fireworks start, and our boy's eyes light up with godly excitement, like the first time I ever saw a woman's melons. He is so astonished and realizes he wouldn't have come here if it weren't for her, and he just stares at her and she stares at him too. Idiots! Just kiss already! The festival is over and it is time to head home. That's when Kita complains about her feet, and when they take a look, she has blisters from the slippers she has been wearing. Our boy doesn't know what to do, and Kita suggests he carry her on his back. Okay, I am not totally sure this boy is going to survive this. He might just pass out from happiness. Ultimately, they talk all the way home, and his excitement doubles when she tells him they should come to the festival the following year. Yikes, that means our boy just got a renewal on his subscription, a 1-year subscription, so happy for him.